$100 investment experiment where I have designed 5 portfolios that I track on the market every week to see how they do. And this week we had a bit of a setback, but all things, every setback is an opportunity to move forward. This week in the market, large cap ETFs had a bad week due to the fact that tech sector had a very down week. Some of the positives that did come from the week is small cap had a positive week, along with mid cap had a good week. Bonds sort of held up okay and did okay, and yet international ETFs underperformed as the US dollar strengthened. And one of the strong suits through the month of June has been that multi-factor investing has done well in these turbulent times. And here I got a few things that have changed this week or whatever. But as you see, the benchmark sat there and lost $12.85 this week, and the Grow My Money lost $7.54 this week, and the American lost $6.75, while the retirement guy lost $7.48. And yet, Steady Eddie with the multi-factor gained 10 cents for the week and still ends up leading the group at $502.20. But as you see, comparing last week to this week, 4 of the ETFs clearly had a setback and didn't do well. But we'll sit there and try and cover that individually as we go forward. And I added a thing here. We're going to sit there and track how these ETFs do and who gains the most week to week. And so far, Steady Eddie has gained the most, primarily through the U.S. multi-factor investment part of Steady Eddie. And yet I think it was last week the benchmark had the best week return for the week for last week at $4 and something. But so yes, we got off to a tough start this month of June. We still have 2 days left in the market, and we'll take a look at that. But let me pull up the benchmark, and we'll take a look at that one. As we see here, the benchmark had a very tough week. The S&P 500 through VOO, VOO is the ticker symbol, had a loss of $12.85 this week, bringing its invested value to $482.25 from its initial investment. That's a loss of $17.72. Since VOO was created in 2010, it has typically averaged a 14% annual growth, but yet in the month of June, we have not seen that since we initially purchased this on June 3rd. And I'm sure we're going to see that turn around because the S&P 500 will recover from this, with the tech sector having a tough week and the influence that that has on the S&P 500. We will see if that's able to turn around this coming week and into the month of July. Money, with its large cap, had a bad week starting out with everything. The tech sector hit hard on the large cap here and lost $6.48 for the week. And as best as it could, the Vanguard small cap value tried to recover and had a gain of $1.39 for the week, while the Vanguard FTSE developed markets lost $2.68 due to the US dollar strengthening, and yet the bond here had a gain of 23 cents. Overall, Grow My Money lost $7.54 for the week, bringing its total to $492.56 for an overall loss of $7.40 from when it first was invested on June 3rd. But we'll go forward from here, and hopefully we'll see a recovery and getting back to trying to break even at $500. While the American, along with the other funds, had a difficult week, I have tried to change up some of the graphics here and make them more interesting, but I'm not real sure how the gray is popping on everything. But overall though, once again, the Vanguard Mega Cap, a large blend, sat there and lost money, $7.04 for the week, and the Vanguard Mid Cap lost 14 cents for the week, while the Vanguard Small Cap for the American gained 51 cents, and the two bonds, Vanguard Total Bond Market and the Vanguard Short-Term Inflation Protected Securities, both gained a little bit. Still overall, the American lost $6.75, giving it a total of $490.99, leaving it $8.96 short of what was initially invested on June 3rd to start out this project here of investing in 5 portfolios to see how they do. But we will look forward to hopefully having a better time, just like the other funds, and look forward to watching the American improve with the dollar strengthening. Hopefully that'll start to reflect in the American that is invested in all U.S. ETF and stock funds. The retirement guy took it on the chin also this week. With the VTI, Vanguard Total Stock Market, it lost $4.38 due to the loss of the Magnificent Seven and the heavy tech loss that occurred this week on the U.S. market. And then also on the Vanguard Total International Stock Index, it lost $3.72. Some of it attributed to the strengthening of the U.S. dollar. The two bond funds, the Total Bond Market U.S. sat there and gained 47 cents, and the Vanguard Total International Bond Index gained 15 cents. Overall, the retirement guy lost $7.48 for the week, and leaving it with a total of $493.36. Overall, it has lost $6.61 since it was initially invested, and it is out of the funds. I believe that is like the lowest loss out of the 4 funds this week, aside from Steady Eddie, who has a different that we'll cover in just a moment. But Steady Eddie is the one fund that this week sat there and gained money and moved a little bit forward, due in large part to the Vanguard US Multi-Factor, where it sat there and had a gain of $2.32 for the week, and that is part of the active managed funds. And then the actively managed Vanguard Core Bond ETF gained 46 cents this week, where the two passively managed funds, the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, lost $3.13 for the week, and yet the Vanguard Total Bond Fund gained 45 cents for the week. Overall, the fund between the balance between actively managed funds and passively managed funds gained 10 cents this week, giving it a total of $502.20. Overall, since initially invested, it has gained $2.21. That's moving forward, so that is progress. And in the battle between actively managed funds and passively managed funds, with the multi-factor gaining $2.32 and the Vanguard Total Stock Market VTI losing $3. Multi-factor was the winner this week, and we will see in coming forward if the top funds inside the portfolios of large cap have a good week. They could clearly come ahead and have a fantastic week coming forward or into the month of July and try and recover from some of the losses that they had. But Steady Eddie is moving forward at a gain of $2.21 over what it was initially invested on June 3rd. In conclusion, for the $500 investment experiment, we see that 4 of the funds pretty much lost ground on the progress that they had made for the last 2 weeks, and some of it even goes farther back than what they have made for the last 3 weeks. But as they say with things, sometimes you have to do your lawn work in order to give everything an opportunity to grow. So hopefully we will see some progress going forward. But right now we see that Steady Eddie is still leading the pack, and we have the retirement guy coming in second, along with the Grow My Money, and then we have the American, followed by the Benchmark. And we'll go forward, and I look forward to watching all these numbers progress forward. That's optimism, and sometimes I guess that's what we need, because so far it's interesting to see that after initially investing on June 3rd, that we have had some letdowns. We've had some progress, but we look forward to covering this, or I look forward to covering this and seeing what other graphics I can create in order to help illustrate the progress or the fun of doing this. Have a good week, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Thank you for watching the $500 investment experiment.